I'm here with David DiLorenzo. What is your position at USF?
I'm the Director of Community and Government Relations for the university. The position is a very outward-facing position. I work a lot with area governmental agencies and organizations. I'm chamber member board. I'm a board member on the Joliet City Center Partnership, so a lot of what I do involves me representing USF within the community. I also do a lot of work writing press releases and trying to tell the university's story so that the community has more information about the important role that our university plays within the Joliet and Will County area.
What measures are in place to protect USF students and faculty during the COVID-19 pandemic?
That's a great question. Actually, when we went into our modified operations plan in March, we actually immediately began working on trying to figure out what things needed to look like in order for us to have students come back in August for the fall semester. So we did a lot of research. We worked a lot with the Will County Health Department. We looked at advice and guidance from the CDC and other important agencies. And we worked very hard to come together with what we called the Saints United approach. And that approach has two things. Number one, it has our overall preparedness plan, which outlines everything that the university is doing to make sure that we are doing what we can to provide a safe and healthy environment for students and employees and the important roles that everybody plays in maintaining that. And in that plan, we also identified what we call our 4 general practices. And what those are 4 things that we know that if everybody adheres to and practices, we're going to put ourselves in a good position to remain on campus as we move throughout the semester.
I feel like they're doing the best job that they can, but based on what others like schools have done, it seems very inferior to what I've seen other schools. It just the way they handle it, and like it's very secret. You can't really tell anybody anything about what's going on or who has it. I've seen security deliver food, and I've asked like, oh, does this person have COVID? And they're like, well, we can't say anything, but I'd like to know if like my next door neighbor has a disease that I need to like be worried about.
I feel as if they are doing the best in their ability to make sure we follow the safety protocols. If you look on campus, there are different signs of which pathways to go for students to practice social distancing, which allows students to also, practice social distancing. But for the most part, yes.
Personally, I think the school is handling COVID very well. We haven't had any cases, or at least I haven't heard of any cases on school. And everything is relatively clean here. People are taking it seriously, and so I think it's a pretty serious problem on campus, and we're taking it very well. If I see like any students, because I'm a student worker on campus, if I see any issues or any problems, I usually report them to my boss, SETI, or if it's a more severe problem, I can probably go to security I know I can go to security to figure it out.
You can email, but based on the past, we've emailed about stuff like air conditioner units and stuff like that, and it takes weeks for them to respond, so I don't really expect anything different emailing about COVID. Otherwise, I wouldn't really know how to get in contact with them.
How are the USF community members notified about potential exposure on campus?
Sure, that's a great question. So contact tracing actually is involved and led by the Will County Health Department. So there are going to be situations where if there is a case on campus, we would go ahead and communicate that with our community by making sure that we use the RAVE system to let people know through email, through text, through phone if needed. And then obviously we can use the university email system as well. But it's a combined effort to make sure that if there is a case on campus, we want to make sure that people know.
Simple. I don't really have a choice because of baseball practice. I live an hour and a half away, so I would have to commute that if I really didn't want to be on campus, and I don't want to drive that every day, so that's why I'm here.
Well, I am a RA, which is a resident assistant on campus, so I have the duty to help students out when they're ever in uncomfortable situations or guidance to school. So because of the protocols that we have now, it allows me to practice social distancing and encourage other students to do it. And to give you more detail on it, we actually have students in single rooms that have a double more say. So we actually have a policy as far as how many students can be in that particular room. So if we have a single, there's only one person allowed to be in that room. If you have a double, you have 3 people in there, and if you have a triple, you can have at least 4 students in one room. So there's no max that any room can be 4 in a triple, and I think you'll understand the rest that goes on knowing for that way. Yeah.
I live in Arizona, and I want to be on campus so I can kind of have that campus feel, as well as just I like being on campus and being by myself.
Some students and professors prefer to meet in class face-to-face. Others prefer online classes. Do students have the option to choose how they participate during the COVID pandemic?
When we went through registration, we actually did work with our faculty to ask them what modalities they were willing to offer their courses in. So some professors offer courses online, other professors prefer to offer courses in person. So between working with our faculty and then working with our students, we tried to make sure that there was an opportunity for students to learn how they would prefer to learn as much as possible, and for professors to teach as they would want to teach as much as possible.
Is there a significant difference in meeting learning outcomes in face-to-face versus online classes?
You know, I think this is a great question, and I think it boils down to the effort that everybody is putting into that course. For me, I'm actually in the MBA program here at USF. It's an online program, and for me, I know that what I'm going to get out of the course depends heavily on what I put into the course. So if students are working hard and trying to get the most that they can out of that course, and if they need help, obviously, making sure that they're asking their their professor for help, they're going to get the most out of that course. And I think too, you know, the fact that our faculty has been so flexible and so willing to work with students in so many different capacities, it does make for a situation where the academic experience that you're going to get is going to be a good one.
Yes, I was able to get the classes that I wanted to do online. Talking to my advisor, it was a pretty smooth process. He let me know that which classes prefer to be online and which classes prefer to do a little bit of both. So I do have like that option to do it. And the teachers that allow us to come in person, they also give us the option, like if we are feeling kind of sick, to have that Zoom link call for us to communicate with them and still be attended to class. Personally, I actually prefer in-person classes because I am a visual learner, so it's a little difficult as far as like getting certain things online because everything's a little bit more fast-paced, if you may understand that. But as far as like in-person, I feel as if the school helps us have that one-on-one opportunity to understand the material that we have to learn.
That's a hard question. It really depends on the subject. For the most part, I love being in person because that's just a feel unlike any other, and you kind of have those interactions with your fellow students and with your professors that you just can't really get if you're doing it online. And if you're online, having those discussions is difficult, but if it's maybe an extracurricular class or maybe some general kind of thing, taking it online is usually better.
Personally, I prefer to be online. In class right now feels really weird and you have to wear a mask. You can't always hear what people are saying all the time, and it's just a really ominous environment, I guess, because everyone's just wearing a mask and it just doesn't seem normal. Whereas online, it's like we were last summer, like last semester, I guess, in the spring semester, where it was pretty normal to be online. And the only problem about being online is the teachers that don't know how to handle the online classes. But if you have a teacher that knows what they're doing, then it's not too bad, and I prefer to be online. That's mainly, it comes down to if the professor knows how to handle the online classes. Some of them give way too much work for being online, and you don't really have the time to meet with them and ask questions, and some of them are horrible at responding to emails. Other than that, I would say there's not too many problems for me online, because a lot of the stuff is the same as being in class. It's just the teacher's on a camera.
If a student contracts COVID-19, what is the procedure for notifying staff and students?
The procedure for notifying staff and students who contract it, or if somebody contracts it and we need to notify the community. I just want to clarify the question.
So if a student contracts COVID, what would their process go about letting everyone else know? Like, how do they go about doing the right things to let the university know?
Sure. For a student, the student is actually going to fill out a form that is made available through our Dean of Students has actually made that available. And we want to make sure that they contact the Wellness Center as well, because that's what gets the ball rolling and making sure that we're going to help that student do what they need to do. For employees, they need to notify our HR department, and they also obviously need to notify their supervisor. So There are a couple different things that get the ball rolling, and then like I said, from that point, we want to make sure that the Will County Health Department is involved with that, and then if we have to go about with notifying individuals, we go about doing that as well.
Does the university have any data on the effectiveness of the temperature checkpoints and self-reporting via the Involvio app?
I don't have any access to data. I'm sure that there is some data that would be collected and available. I will tell you this though, as an employee, as a student, I use the Involvio app every day before I come to campus. I've got my campus pass with me, my green pass, and then I also stop at the temperature check stations, and honestly I see a lot of individuals doing that as well. I see our students wearing masks, our employees wearing masks and social distancing, physical distancing, doing all the things that they need to do. So I think these are important tools that are being used, and obviously are very highly visible tools that are being used that ultimately help to keep our campus safe.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to answer these questions for us. Would you be willing to do a follow-up interview if the university's position changes?
I'm always happy to work with our students and our programs to help get information out. So if the opportunity does come up and you guys need anything, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.